Frank Fantini here with Gavin Isaacs, who is CEO of Scientific Games, a company that a couple years ago was a kind of a simple little lottery company with a few VLTs.
Not a simple little lottery company, a big lottery company.
A simple big lottery company compared to today. You now have what you might almost call as a gaming conglomerate through the marriage of what was once four companies into now one.
Correct.
That's Shufflemaster, a table game supplier, Bally, and WMS, two slot machines and systems, two slot machine companies, and Scientific Games, which was a big lottery company. And Gavin, this whole last year has just been like a whirlwind for you. Can you bring us up to date on where Scientific Games is now?
We're on the cusp of our relaunch. Everything that we did, November the 21st last year, we closed the merger. And as you pointed out, Scientific Games had already acquired WMS, and Bally were in the process of integrating Shufflemaster. So the last period of time has been bringing all those companies together, building in the appropriate synergies. The strategy was always, with every company having its own operating system, to get more efficient in the areas where you need to be efficient and to invest further in innovation. And we launch it tomorrow with 288 games and 133 new titles, and our new Wave Star, which takes both Scientific, it takes both Bally and WMS and soon Shuffle and Barcrest content. And so we feel really good. We feel very pumped up. We believe that we're the leader and that we've worked our way into that leadership position. We have a mission. Our mission statement's very simple. We empower our customers by providing the world's best gaming and lottery experiences. Simple as that. And we feel that tomorrow the world will see that we've achieved that.
What you've undertaken is a very complex process.
Yes.
And you are trying to, or you have merged these global companies, several of which had headquarters in other locations, and you've consolidated all of that, and yet you're maintaining your separate brands. Can you tell us a little bit how that's going to reconcile?
Well, we're one company. We're Scientific Games. We have three divisions. We have Scientific Games, SG the Gaming, SG Lottery, SG Interactive. Where there's rationalization, for example, one legal department, one accounting department, a CTO that combines everything, areas like that, we obviously have one part of the business. When it comes to the gaming business, when it comes to content, Bally content, Shufflemaster content in the slot side of it, WMS content, all unique, all good and bad, all got great strengths. We keep the content houses alive, we keep the brands alive, but ultimately all the hardware, all the operating systems, everything will be common. So from a customer's perspective, if you buy a Scientific Games cabinet, you have the security of knowing that you've got one of 3, 4, multiple content houses and different brands. It's not everyone likes the same brand, and I've worked in companies where one type of video product, that's all we did. I think the broad-based flavors that the different brands can bring give the variety and ensure that we have the breadth of products that customers require.
Just one more question on them that's merger related. Is all these mergers required a lot of debt to get done, and you now have a debt to EBITDA ratio that I believe is somewhere around 8 times or so. And there's among investors, there's a bull and a bear debate as to whether you're going to have the cash flow to pay that down and have the capital to continue to invest in innovation. How's that working out so far? Are you on pace?
We built plans based around the debt load. We were very clear about that. And we certainly have the capital and the cash that we need to invest in innovation, and believe that we're, of our 8,500 people, 40%, 3,300 are involved in innovation or ideation in one way or another. We have abilities to do other things when it needs to, but we've got revolving capacities, we've got all of that. And the way we've built our plans, we haven't really assumed a big pickup in the world markets in gaming in any way, but we feel we have very comfortable cash flow generation abilities that more than adequately cover our interests and give us the ability to pay back our debt. We've said that from the beginning, and as we progress, I'm sure people hopefully will shorten the bears and grow the bulls.
one of the buzzwords this year is going to be skill-based gaming. Where's Scientific Games?
We've had buzzwords in this industry for quite a while, haven't we?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously it's an important thing to look at, and let's be really clear what skill-based gaming is. I mean, the regulation, there aren't any technical standards yet, but the idea was it's the regulators working with the industry, and AGEM pushed it very hard, thank you, to AGEM, where you're basically enabling the developers to expand beyond the current fairly rigid rules in relation to every player has the same chance to win the same payback. Now every game, no one's going to make a game where a casino loses money, but we now have the ability to make games where you can potentially have a bit more elements of skill in it, and some players can win a lot more and others won't win as much. We've got one game on the show floor. We'll have Space Invaders. And that's a very simple, progression. I've always said that, you can evolutionize or you can revolutionize. I think the evolution for us is Space Invaders, where you play a slot game. When you win the feature, you have the option of either getting the 10 free games, or you can play Space Invaders for skill. That's a very, very simple iteration. I mean, that game's fairly ready. We need the technical standards, but that's something that could be out. And in our innovation lab, we have 5 other concepts of different kind of games where, not necessarily slot-based, lots of different concepts. And I think that it's something that when the regulations allow you to innovate, you should innovate.
One of the things we've seen with the internet in any industry is that disruptive forces come up generally from the internet as opposed to the established companies. And in gaming, we've seen it with exchange wagering, we're seeing it with daily fantasy sports, and now esports. And skill-based gaming, if you look at the kinds of games that kids play, young people play, I shouldn't say kids, they're perhaps far beyond what regulators maybe would allow. And so I guess my question is, can the regulators ever keep pace with the change of the customers out there who are ever evolving every day of the week?
Well, I agree with what you say, and maybe not from the internet, but from technology companies and innovators and entrepreneurs always look at existing industries and look at ways of disrupting it. I mean, PayPal's done it to the payment industry, things like that. And we're seeing that a little bit in gaming, but the regulators have a very specific role and mantra and directive, which is to maintain the integrity of the gaming and to ensure that players are treated fairly. And they've set very strict standards that we've all had to comply with. And I'd be disappointed if people could get around those standards and participate. That would be the first thing. Secondly, I'm still not a firm believer that 25-year-olds have a lot of cash to spend. So to start thinking that the world's going to be, casinos are going that my generation, your generation are dead tomorrow and it's going to be filled with 25-year-olds isn't quite right. I think you've still got a good base of people who still want to play in casinos. And I think steps like skill-based gaming, and I think, we've got a big interactive business, social business. We're working on different concepts there in the lottery, bringing all these things together. Our job is to come up with games that will create entertainment and excitement for not just young players, but for people who don't play, trying to attract them in.
One of the things I observe as I go up around the casino floor is one of the places where there's a lot of young folks and a lot of energy is in the table games. And you own the largest table game company in the world.
Yes.
When we go out onto the trade show floor tomorrow and Wednesday, what are the products we should look at from Shuffle Master and from your other divisions?
Okay, so obviously in the shuffling side of the business, where the man who founded Shuffle Master, John Breeding, you talk about all the different things that have occurred in gaming, and people, they're legend. To me, there is only one, because this is the only true invention in gaming. So it started with a wooden model, and that became the modern day shuffler. We have SafeBuck, we have things like that people want to see, and our shufflers for off-peak shuffling. In the table side of it, we've got 3 new brands. I think it's 3 new brands. One just won the Table of the Year award, which you would expect from us. Actually made by one of our internal guys, which is even better. The electronic table's a big focus for us now. Again, world leadership in that. Pretty much in every market bar one, we do dominate. And with the team we've got together there and the investment we're putting in that, we've got a lot of exciting stuff in that and some really good plans for the future. In the slots, wow, with 288 titles, games out there, we've got we've got 17 different theme brands. I think the Twin Star is an absolute must. That's our new dual screen. That's our latest, that's the state-of-the-art platform. We have one game which we're going to launch tomorrow where I think it's called Leap Motion, and you actually get inside the game. You put your hands in front of it, and all of a sudden your hands in the character's form appear in the screen. And you catch beans as they drop, and you scratch tickets. Just about everywhere you look. We announced today our relationship with Cusa, with Cirque du Soleil. Incredible imagery in that, and it works so well in the games. A Monty Python game, a new Cher game, a fantastic new Michael Jackson game. We have our first branded electronic table. Continue innovation in systems where we dominate and lead, and you name it. I mean, you could keep going across the board. We just launched Empire in our social side, so for us that's really important because it's the first game we've launched in social that hasn't already been a land-based game. So, wow, you can imagine why I'm excited.
Really? Well, we've covered a lot of territory. Anything else you'd like to touch on with scientific games?
No, I think that for us this has been a turning point, and our coming out party is tomorrow. We're getting momentum across the whole business. We're getting momentum in the lottery side of it. It's beginning to generate, and we're enjoying it. I just came from the launch of our sales team, and I gave them their final, go get them guys kind of chat, and we're very excited about tomorrow.
Great.
And the future. It's not just tomorrow. It's
Sure. Final question.
Yeah.
What would you like investors to better understand about scientific games?
I think investors struggle, frankly, with all the different conflicting reports they read about everything. They do believe that because young people don't go to casinos, gaming's dead. I think if people realise that our customers across the board are actually doing okay, if you go, obviously the regionals are doing well, but people here are starting to do better. The Native American casinos are doing great. It's not all doom and gloom, and there are opportunities, and we're not going away, and we'll continue to innovate. And I think that the fact that we have completed our integrations, we're getting on with business, we have plenty of investment and a desire to invest. Our size and our scales makes us the number one company in which to help push towards the future with innovation. That puts us in that great position. And I think people think that we have no money, which is not quite the case.
Okay.
We generate good cash.
Great. Gavin, thank you. Very informative.
Thanks, Frank.
Appreciate it.